It's 2 p.m. Detroit, and you know what that means. Detroit media icon Ryan Ermanni, University of Michigan great Braylon Edwards, and of course, Maz are about to take over on Woodward Sports. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m., it's the best Detroit sports talk on Detroit's best sports network. Woodward Sports.
One.
Hey, let's go. Wednesday show, January 8th, 2025. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. If you're watching on YouTube, we say good afternoon to you. If you're in the super chat, thanks so much. We appreciate it. We're having some fun this week with that. Hopefully you guys are having some fun with that as well, being such a big part of the show. $5 for a comment, $20 for a topic. If you want a video call, $50, and we'll do a video call with you. We do have Dan Miller on via video. We do not charge him $50, though. Just want to point that out. If you're watching on X as well, thanks so much for that. And again, if you want 10 minutes in the Maz chair, 10 minutes in the Maz chair, it is a $500 contribution. Braylon Edwards, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you as well, man. I'm doing good. Glad to be here, man. Good to be here with you as well. Had some fun with that chat yesterday, getting people involved, reading the chat. I think I did a little better job yesterday, if I do say so myself. So I'm about to get back on this YouTube and give it a whirl. Shout out to my girl whose birthday it is today, Brittany Coleman. So I won't tell you how old she is. She'll kill me, but happy birthday to you. Looking forward to tonight. And 8 days into January, and I'm already broke, Ryan. 8 days in. Still broke from Christmas, but you know, here we are.
No doubt. Tom Masway, good afternoon to you.
Hey, fellas. It's good to be here. I love Wednesdays. Get to talk to Dan Miller, talking Lions. I'm still riding the high cloud here, man. A lot of good stuff yesterday from Dan Campbell. A real funny clip of him when they asked him what is he going to do in the week off, and we'll go over that. And he's just got it, man. This team has got it. That's all I got to say. They're awesome, and I love talking about them.
No doubt about it. KG in the TD booth today. How you doing over there, KG?
Hey, I'm good, man. You know we had to step up for our boy Pete, man. He going through it, man. Caught a real bad cold bug. So
playing hurt. Intern Maria, we've got in the sound booth. We've got to add some class to this show. Right. Absolutely. How you
doing,
got to
keep us all in check, you know.
Yeah, good job. Good job there as well.
Can I start off by saying congratulations to somebody and someone?
Sure.
Been giving the Red Wings hell all year, and finally they're seeming like they're turning the quarter. They won last night on power play goal. Excited for that. The Red Wings 5 in a row. I was rocking that Red Wings drip yesterday, so I felt it only right that I big up the Red Wings and Stevie White. Maybe there is something to firing your coach.
No doubt about it.
Patty Kane on bobblehead night with the game winner in overtime.
100%, man.
How about that?
Absolutely.
And then they upped Tammy Chin's prices by about 1,000%.
So,
sorry, Tammy.
We're gonna get to the Wings. I do, and I was floored by that. Just we love Tammy Chin.
She's the best. Absolutely, one of the originators.
She is one of the OGs here when it comes to Woodward Sports. I saw this earlier. She says, I'm so bummed that this will probably be our last season as a season ticket holder for the Red Wings. Our 2 seats in Section 301, the highest seats in the arena, are going from $4,700 this season to $18,000 next year. I understand that this is a business.
They don't have any playoff wins.
But the average diehard fan will no longer be able to afford full season ticket holder with that kind of increase. Just sad we are turning into Toronto and all about money. It's been one hell of a ride. Now, a couple of people, because I posted on there, wow, what a shame. And a couple of people have replied on this thread that they are making those sections into an all-you-can-eat, all-you-can-drink suite situation. Yeah. So they are taking people in that section and saying, okay, here is your new section if you want to move. It's kind of like if you had Tiger season tickets behind home plate. Well, they're reconfiguring the stadium. Yep. So those seats would obviously go from $6,000 to $60,000. So it's
more involved.
I will say I'm a little less outraged now than I was 3 or 4 hours ago when I first heard it, because it's not apples to apples
Well, I
anymore.
hope they give her good seats that are comparable.
I agree.
And that's what I was going to say. I hope there's some type of package, Paul, that she's putting in there, or they're giving her as as compensation. Hey, we're another option. Hey, we want to throw this in with this, or we want to get you over here. I agree with you on that, Maz.
No doubt. Guys, let's get into the Lions. And, this is one
We
thing.
already got a super chat.
I'm just pulling up the YouTube right now, Maz. Can you go for it for me?
Of course, Rick Herda.
Oh,
Thank you,
turn it
Rick.
up. What's going on, Rick?
He's like, which divisional matchup do you think is best for the Lions? And he seconded what I said yesterday.
Then go ahead,
The
man.
Commanders seem most favorable with a rookie quarterback in a tough environment. Divisional teams are always dangerous, and the Rams bring up too much baggage and history. By the way, you already heard from Kelly Stafford saying, someone asked her, if you guys play the Lions, are you coming to Ford Field? She's like, I guess I will, but I really don't want to. So, yeah, to me, the Commanders are the play for the Lions, Bo. Rick Herda, thank you so much for that hit.
This is where I was at yesterday, Ryan. Like, look, at the end of the day, I think the Lions are a much better team than the Washington Commanders. I agree with everything you said. They don't have much of a defense. And then Jalen Daniels is indeed just that. He's a rookie. You look at the other teams, it's a little bit more there. You don't want to play Stafford. Excuse me. But my thoughts with the rookie, it's the unknown. Like, you know who that Rams team is. You know Sean McVay. This will be the third time that you played them. You know Matt Stafford. You know what they're going to be. You know their defense isn't that good. You can pick them apart. The Vikings, seems like we have their number. Seems like Kevin O'Connell, Sam Darnold, the Lions just have their number. Seems like Ben Johnson has Brian Flores' number. That unknown situation, it's the unknown about the Commanders that I fear. Like, Tom, you're absolutely right. They're the team that least defense, the running game's just okay with Brian Robinson Jr. But it's that unknown. Man, I don't want to F around with the unknown in the playoffs.
I think they could beat Philly, to be honest with you.
If
they beat Tampa, I think they could beat Philly, but I don't think they could beat the Lions.
So here's the deal, and I think they could
Philly. They can be in the conversation on the best type of day to beat the Lions.
And Rick brings up a great question, and we certainly appreciate it, Rick. Welcome to the super live stream there. I think they can beat Philly for the same reasons why I don't really particularly care to play the Packers or the Vikings for a third time, because Philadelphia would be playing Washington for a third time. I think that's why Washington can beat Philly, and that's why Green Bay could beat Detroit, or that's why Minnesota could beat Detroit. I think it's really hard. I don't think it'll happen. I don't want anybody to mistake what I'm saying. Do not mistake what I'm saying. Understand the words that are coming out of my mouth.
Chris Tucker.
Okay? I think Detroit will win the Super Bowl. I think Detroit will win the divisional round. I think Detroit will win the NFC Championship game. However, and karma is whatever, right? You don't want to root for something that may bite you in the future.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
You don't want to.
I'm messing with you.
Right. I too wish for Washington because of all the reasons that were listed yesterday. You'd have to play Green Bay a third time. You'd have to play Minnesota a third time, or you'd have to play the Rams a second time this season, a third time in the last 12 months. I just don't like that. Playing Washington that's got no defense, that has a rookie quarterback on the road.
No running game either.
That is who I would think would be the ideal opponent for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I mean, everything you said is true. Everything, I mean, it's apples to apples because we know the Lions can beat them all, so it really doesn't matter. But in the grand scheme of things, for me, it's just the unknown. Like, Jaden Daniels is electric with his feet. I think he's electric with his arm as well. I think he's made some throws that have shown me that, this guy really deserved to be the number 2 pick overall. So he's got a couple weapons over there. Hey, they're going to win the game regardless. But I don't like the unknown. The Lions have struggled against rushing quarterbacks. And you say the Commanders' defense isn't that good. Well, outside of the Lions' defense last week, they weren't that good either. So,
I think it's a moot point because I think Tampa's going to beat them. You think Washington's going to win.
I do think Washington.
I think Tampa will win. I think Philly will win. That means we get the winner of the Monday night game, and I really don't want anything to do with the Rams, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But before I get back to that, Tammy Chin is in our chat. I'd be curious, Tammy, if you wouldn't mind letting us know what section would they move you to just so we have the accurate picture of kind of what we're talking about here, because I think lower bowl Red Wings season ticket holders get their increase today or tomorrow or something like that. So just we love Tammy. We support Tammy. And
I love the increase, but no playoffs yet.
Right, exactly, no doubt. It's an experience, and we can talk more about that coming up, right? It's all about the experience now.
Exactly. 40 games.
Just going back to what you said, though, Maz, about if you play the winner of I almost said St. Louis, the Rams and Minnesota. If that is the case, if you are playing, you want to know what day the Lions are going to play. I think it's pretty simple. If the Packers or the Commanders win and the Lions play either of those teams, that game will be the Saturday night game, 8:15. Mm-hmm. If the Monday night game winner is your opponent,
Sunday,
you will absolutely play on Sunday, because they're not going to make a Monday night winner travel and play on a Saturday. Right. I don't believe under any scenario they'll do that.
I think the Lions play on Sunday regardless.
Really?
Yeah, they're the marquee game. Sunday is the marquee day. The Lions are the number one team. Them and the Chiefs will play on Sunday regardless.
You think so?
I do.
Even if it's the Vikings, let's say, who have to travel on a short week.
Yeah, they'll play on a Sunday, not a Saturday.
Oh, yeah. I see.
I think the Lions, no matter who they play, will play on Sunday.
So you think if Minnesota wins that game and they have to go to Philadelphia, you think they'll travel and make Philadelphia play the Saturday game?
I do.
Wow.
I do. I believe the Lions are your number one seed. Sunday is for the number ones, not Saturday.
How many games this weekend coming up? Not this weekend coming up. When the Lions play, how many games?
It'll be the final 8. It'll be 2 and 2.
2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. There's a 4:30 and an 8:15 on Saturday, and a 3 and a 6:30 on Sunday, which I hate.
Me too. I hate waiting till 3.
Yeah,
they make us wait now, man.
You're right.
I just think it's ludicrous, man. And the NFL is so wrapped up and so concerned about money because they can get it. They can get it from they can get it from all sources, whether it's streaming, whether it's whatever. They can get it. Having a Monday night game was diabolical, and then potentially having a team play on Saturday is just
that's got to go.
Life isn't fair, but this is truly unfair. Somebody's going to be complaining. I guarantee if Minnesota wins this game and gets popped, or the Rams, whoever wins this game and loses, they're going to be complaining. And this is going to be something that they talk about in the offseason. It's all about money. It's all about revenue share.
Hey, the first 5 or 6 Super Bowls I watched were at 1 o'clock.
Right.
In my life. 1 o'clock games.
Right.
Then they moved to 2:30, 3 o'clock, and then
commercial build-up.
And here you are now.
No doubt. The week off, and this was much talked about for the colleges. All 4 teams that had a week off in college lost their playoff game when it came to the college football playoff. Next week, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Detroit Lions have that time off. How different is it in college and in the NFL? And quite honestly, Braylon, 3 of the 4 matchups, the road team in college was better than the team that got had off anyway. So maybe you just throw that out the window, and that's just a nothing comparison. It doesn't even compare. It's probably not apples to apples.
There's a little bit there. You build momentum. You look at the momentum that the Detroit Lions have built up, especially after their loss to Buffalo. It seems like they got back on track. They built the momentum up. But I think it's all about coordinators. It's all about players. They come around faster. College players, it takes them a second to get back in the rhythm of things. It takes them a second to figure it out. They're still in classes. They're still being kids. They're still being kids, even though they're getting paid the $2 and $5 million to some players. So it takes them a while to dial back in. It may take them a whole game. And as you saw in Tennessee's case against Ohio State, NFL is different. Like, they take that week off, but they're business. Like, this is their profession. They're legitimately sitting
healing.
100%. They're healing. They're at the facility. They're staying in tune to the game plan. They're watching film on the opposition. They're at the house, relaxing, feet kicked up, telling the wife, hey, look, you got the kids next week. I'm dialed. Daddy's dialed into the playoffs. So I think it's just different in terms of age, maturity, and professionalism, if you will.
Hey, by the way, the Arizona State quarterback is coming back. He has re-signed for another $3 million.
Arizona State?
Yeah.
Good for him, because that Arizona State coach was like, come on, guys, I need you.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
They were interesting.
That was one of the reasons Jim Larinaga from Miami, the basketball coach, he quit, because the team he took to the Final Four, they were all like,
8 guys left.
Yeah, we're out of here. We just took you to the Final Four. We can win next year. We'll see you.
Gonna go get paid.
By the way, congrats to the Wolverines. We'll talk about you later.
Absolutely.
I can't wait. They owe UCLA that because they lost UCLA a couple years ago in the Elite Eight, and UCLA scored like 40 points. It was
no doubt. Speaking of the week off and how it will benefit the Detroit Lions and how it will benefit Dan Campbell, this really does feel like kind of a huge break for them. I mean, they've been on autopilot since week 4, week 5.
Yeah.
What was their bye week? Week 4? Week 5?
Yeah.
So it's been pretty incredible stretch for them. Here's Dan Campbell on how he will handle this week off.
The next couple of days for somebody that eats, sleeps, and breathes the game as much as you do. What does that look like for you these next couple of days? I have to drink the game. I'm going to get a little bit. I'm going to get a little bit of, work over the next 2 days. Like I said, we'll practice, and then I plan on getting out of here a little bit. I'll have stuff with me, and there'll be some little things I'm working on, things that I know that I can do better, get better at, things that I want to look at, do my own checklist as it pertains to us, like over the last, call it 5 weeks, 6 weeks. But other than that, man, I want to spend time with my family and just sit back for a minute and just charge back up and be ready to go.
I want to thank Corey Woods for that video on his X page. Braylon Edwards, what's it like to come back when you're you're counted on, you're needed, and you probably escaped an injury, but there has to be some sort of mental component to that as well.
Yeah, definitely talking about Dave Montgomery. You're talking about Demo?
Yeah.
100%. Just to initially think, like I've been in situations before where I thought I was injured and you go down on the ground and you instantly think the worst. You get up and, maybe it's a game off and maybe you figure out you get the second, third opinion. It's like, oh, man, woo. All right, it's not too bad. Now the mind shifts and now you get ready for the game. You do what the doctor says you can do because it's up until you see the doctor. It's up until you see the therapist and they say, hey, look, you can go. Then that mind shifts and then you start the rehab process, whatever. So it's going to be good to have Demo back and just good to really have this bye week.
That bye week is everything, man.
The bye week is everything. Like you said, we've been going since the 5th week of the season. That's when they had their bye week. It's injuries. It's the little things. Like they've been on autopilot. They don't even realize that their body is struggling and going things, little ankle bruises or little strains in the hamstrings, little strains in the groins or elbow, whatever it is. You get that week off. You sit there. You relax. You don't have to do any physicality. There's no game on Sunday or Thursday or Monday. You just relax. Practice isn't going like that. So you're really just – your body is getting semi back to normal, so it's getting lighter. It's getting a little bit less heavy, and then that's when you really strike in 2 weeks. You'll feel a lot faster, a lot better.
And all of those hits do add up.
Hell
all
yeah.
of that running does add up. I mean, sometimes it's just, it sounded like Dan Campbell, Braylon, is going on a vacation. He's going to go down to the Bahamas for a couple of days and crush some beers.
He better not go to Miami because he'll piss Maz off. Because last time, what was that? Odell that did
Odell,
that,
don't get out of there.
Right, don't go to
boat ride.
Miami.
No Miami boat rides, Dan Campbell.
Don't go to Miami, no doubt. Here's, Dan Campbell talking about that defensive effort over the weekend as well. He really had some high praise for Aaron Glenn. So much coaching news going on regarding him and Ben Johnson. But here's Dan Campbell talking about the defensive effort.
Staff did and what our players did to have the plan in place of what we knew we needed to do and to watch them bring it to life. Our players brought that plan to life, and they did it. And I mean, it speaks for itself. I mean, 3 of 13 on third down, 0 of 3, fourth down, 0 of 4 in the red zone, only gave up 5 explosives. 3 sudden changes really defensively, had to go out there and were able to hold them back. That's significant. That's significant. So, just can't say enough good things. That whole defense, top to bottom, it really.
And again, high praise. And if they're gonna get through the next round, Bray, it is going to be they'll have to get some stops defensively too. So much about that offense is talked about, but it was the defense that won the game for them, in my opinion, against Minnesota. And it'll be the defense that either gets a turnover at a crucial spot, gets off the field on a third down, maybe a fourth down stop. That is what it takes to win in the playoffs.
Yeah, we saw that last year for the Detroit Lions team, coached by Aaron Glenn. Last year in the playoffs, they were giving up a lot of points, especially on defense. A lot of points, especially because the secondary couldn't stop anybody. That's that's why all the receivers were getting off. So they still found ways to make the plays, whether it's Derek Barnes, whether it's Malcolm Rodriguez. There's players making plays on the defense. They just can't spot teams as much as they did last year. This is a different year. You got to alleviate some of that pressure that you put on the offense. Yes, Jahmyr Gibbs is that deal. Yes, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yes, Jared Goff is on a tear. Yes, you have, he almost came through the window. Yes, you have Penei Sewell. You got the best offensive line in the league. 3 guys make the Pro Bowl. You got all that. But this isn't all on them. This is a team game, and I'm going to need that defense to make some plays so they can help their team out because, yes, they can do all that, but if you got to score every single time, what if the Lions come out and they're like against the Chicago Bears? What if they come out and it's similar to the first half of the Houston Texans game? It's the playoffs. You don't know what you're going to be in, so you got to help your team out.
We're on a double-sided glass here, essentially.
Oh, man, that was crazy. It did the bump up and roll back.
Is there a chance to get a wider shot of this,
I can
KG?
zoom out on you.
So just from where I sit, this is Woodward Avenue right here. We're at 15 in Woodward, where we're located at the Lady Jane's headquarters in Birmingham. And there was a truck. You could see the end of it, the tail end of the truck here. This truck almost came through and ran me over, and it was almost the end of my life.
We almost lost Ryan.
You would have been
It was
Maria.
almost, it would have been Maria, actually. Maria was done over here. Her life was over. Her life was over. So out of the truck comes 2 very attractive, beautiful women.
The women's.
The women's man. And one of the beautiful
How tall
women.
were they?
Very nice. One of the beautiful women stood right here behind this pane of glass and sat there and literally took like 3 or 4 selfies of herself.
What's up,
and
Coach?
it's so funny because she can't see us in here.
Yeah.
But we can see out. And it's a really, really funny dynamic when you see people walk through the things people do when they walk by a mirror, essentially.
They
It's
love it
pretty
on
funny.
themselves.
Yeah.
Little selfie action.
Tuck their shirts in,
Yeah.
pull their pants down,
Check their haircut
do their
out,
belt,
pick their nose.
look, see if they got anything in their teeth.
A lot of weird stuff.
Right, exactly.
It's mainly selfies.
Yeah.
Ryan,
mainly selfies.
hold on real quick. A lot of credit is given to Coach Lloyd Carr and those who helped me along the way to get to where I was, break records in Michigan, et cetera, et cetera. But the guy that really kind of focused my energy and taught me the game of football, if I'm being honest. Like, I had played my whole life. My dad played in the NFL, but Coach George Sahady at Bishop Gallagher taught me how to play the game of football. He got me the Lloyd Carr connection alongside my dad as well. And he's no longer with us, but Paul Sahady, who's his son, represents him well, also coached on the team when I was in Gallagher, is joining the studio, and I haven't seen Paul in a long time. So
Shout out
just wanna
Paul.
say hi to Coach.
One of
I
Detroit's
talked to him
finest.
off camera, but love you, Coach. Good to see you.
Good job,
man.
Coach
Come on,
Paul.
man.
Man, Coach
see
George, that name is synonymous with
Oh,
high school
100%,
football coaches in the state of Michigan. One of the
some
greats
powerhouses,
at
George,
Bishop Gallagher.
Big for Al Fracassa, like they were the same
Absolutely,
lineage. Yeah.
no doubt. Tom Mock.
Ooh,
Remember
that's
Coach
another one.
Mock back in the day. So, lots of good stuff. And again, the Lions fans, you can sit back and relax this weekend. You can sit there, just watch other games. And look, we're all going to be rooting for teams. We will all have our team to root for. I want Washington to win. That's a team. I kind of want Philadelphia to win because Philadelphia doesn't scare me as much as I think they should scare me.
You don't want Philly to win. You don't. You want them knocked out. All of us want them knocked out.
I want them knocked out in the second round.
Not me. I want them out. First round, get the hell out of here. I'm done with you. Bring on the Packers.
Okay.
I'm not
fine.
worried about
Bring
that.
on the Packers.
I think there's 2 ways to look at that. And to Maz's point, there's never been a team to win the Super Bowl and somebody look at them and say, you had an easy road.
Right.
I've never heard that conversation. It's just never been one. But to the point of what you're saying, if you beat the Eagles, it's the same thing with Michigan beating Alabama. Would you rather beat Alabama or would you rather beat the alternative?
Here's a dumb question for you. Here's a dumb question for you.
So.
What is the
Least.
what's the team that is gonna be the most expensive ticket?
Rams.
Is it the Rams or is it the Packers? Because the Packers will travel.
Rams.
Packers,
Rams?
NFC Championship or the Super Bowl?
just ticket by ticket or game by game, divisional round.
Oh, I got it. Start it.
I think the Rams too. Probably a Rams NFC Championship game might break all records for tickets and
Rams, Lions?
Well, we can't get them in the NFC Championship.
The Rams, absolutely you can.
That's right, if the Packers win.
Yeah, Packers or Commanders.
Right. You're right.
Packers or Commanders win, you're playing them.
Right. Oh, God. Okay.
Why? You're so scared of the Rams.
I'm scared. I'm not scared. Look, I'm going to be with you. Chat, listen to me.
You gotta
The Lions are going to win the Super Bowl,
Right.
okay? Listen to me. But I don't want nothing to do or anything to do with the Rams. I don't want to play against Sean McVay again. I don't want to play against Matthew Stafford again. I don't care what you say about them. We're not scared of them. We got their number. You don't want them. Trust me. You don't want them. If you could avoid them. Still think you'll beat them, but you don't want them.
Here's what Dan Campbell had to say about those fans that have been so great throughout the year.
With our fans, you know, that was a great environment. We knew it would be, but it was electric in there, and it, you know, our fans, they play a factor in that. They played a factor the other day, and it's hard to communicate, and it's, you know, you can feel it in there, and we appreciate it. And I do believe it really is an advantage. It's a home field advantage, and not everybody gets it, and we do. And I'm glad we earned that. So fired up for us, fired up for the fans.
It is, and it earned it, and that is part of this fun, right? Isn't that part of this ride? Is getting to do it here at home. Like, I mean, I was on the road last year in San Francisco, and trust me, it was great. I felt so blessed to be there.
Yeah.
But I did feel like you just wish that game was at home. Like what it takes all year long to play at home, you felt like that was just something that was so unattainable for the Lions to ever play an NFC Championship game at home that they earned. Not one where you're the 5 seed and you're playing the 8 seed or 7 seed or something like that just by chance. But yeah, it's so I'm so happy for Lions fans that they get a chance to watch this run, and hopefully it is a run at home.
Yeah, and everybody that was out there hating nowadays, you know, because the Lions, you know, stardom or the Lions 15-2 or the way that they're winning and how they're doing it, because it's become that, you get into people saying some things and maybe there's a little pushback. But the majority of people, they've enjoyed the ride. Like once we, you know, got to the 9-8 situation off a 3-13 year, 3-13 in 1 year, where you almost make the playoffs, but there's the Rams and Seattle's game, kind of starting the media and the nation is, you know, what's going on with this little team in Detroit? Then the following year, they go 12-5, validating that last half of that last year was real serious, and it's a real team, and it's built through the draft, and it's built through a man who played for the team that he's coaching. And now, how do they respond from a loss in the NFC Championship to the 49ers? Well, they respond with the number 1 seed and a 15-2 record, showing that everything that they built, everywhere in which they've gone about it, has been the right way. So, yes, they deserve to have home field advantage. And it's not just that they deserve it. They went out there and took home field advantage because they've been counting out on a bunch of games this year. And a lot of times, even us were like, oh, here we go again. But nah, that SOL has been gone. And this is the brand new Lions, and 15-2. That's tough to do.
Look, we were just talking about Tammy Chinn's season tickets at the Red Wings, how much they've gone up. You know what these ticket prices are going to be for the divisional round, let alone the NFC Championship. Maria just got herself 4 tickets, and I'm bringing that up. You know, her dad took care of her. She's going to go with her girlfriends. Probably none of them have ever seen an NFL game. Now, here's my point. I would say 40% of that stadium recently are new Lion fans.
Of course.
But that kills the guys like me. I can't get in because guys now are taking their girlfriends, they're taking their daughters, they're taking their friends because it's a happening event. But now I'm going to be, you know, I'm a little pissed, to be honest, because I can't afford to play the game anymore. And it just, and I have a lot of friends that don't want the Lions to win for one reason.
Because
of bandwagon fans. And I'm not calling Maria a bandwagon fan. I'm just saying she's got
Sounds
tickets.
like you are a little
she's
bit.
never been.
I'm messing with you, man.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's a tough ticket right now. And the real Lion fans, a lot of them are sitting home. That's all I got to say.
It's tough, but I think you're creating new Lions fans. I think you're creating new Lions fans, new generations, new memories. Look, and it sucks, but that's been every decade. That's been every era when a team has finally come to success or a team has come back to success from the depths of darkness. The ticket pricing goes up. But, Maz, you're a fan already. Your daughters are fans already. You'll find tickets to these games. You know how you do. But these are new kids building new memories. I was thinking about this game this past Sunday. Like I tell you, always jokingly, I did not grow up a Lions fan. I wanted them to win, but I couldn't tolerate the disappointment. So I grew up a fan of players for the Lions. This past Sunday, I was just looking around my mom's house. It's my mom, it's my dad, it's me, it's my girlfriend, it's my sister, it's her husband, my brother-in-law, shout out to Cam, it's my niece, Rain. Like, my brothers came over, it's Bailey, it's Berkeley. Like, we've come together as a family over this Detroit Lions situation. Like, and I feel like that's what people who have the money, that's what they're doing as well. They're trying to build those memories. Like, it felt good. Like, we didn't cheer for the Lions growing up. It was nothing to cheer for. We as a family came together and watched the Lions. So I think it's a lot of new memories, a lot of new fans, and we can be proud of our team.
I see all these pictures on Facebook, Instagram, and I'm like, they're not freaking fans.
It's a great topic. It's a
great point.
It's a great topic. Let's continue to talk about that next. Dan Miller coming up. Also, Josh Landon from Fox 2 has an incredible story about David Montgomery that he's going to share with us momentarily. But first, a message from
Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential. With over 50 metropolitan Detroit locations, it's the gym for you. It is squeaky clean, features squeaky clean gyms as well as judgment free. There's no judgment when you work out here. So you can come on down because the fitness is essential. And remember that Planet Fitness always knows that it's fitness that fits into your budget.
We have 1800 Tequila, the official tequila of Woodward Sports Lions watch parties and post-game shows. Join 1800 Tequila and Woodward Sports every Lions game live at Hayes Social in Shelby Township and celebrate the win with smooth 1800 Tequila, the proud sponsor of your Detroit Lions. 1800 Tequila, the best taste in tequila, and drink responsibly.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
No one gives away more cash and prizes than Woodward Sports. You don't believe us? Here's our latest $10,000 winner.
You know, you guys posted, hey, if you guess all this stuff right, we'll give it's $10,000. I'm like, okay, well, why the hell not?
And the winning doesn't stop there. How about our Outkick Your Coverage winner?
Let's give it up for David Tully, everybody. David Tully. This guy's got a hot girl.
Bigger prizes, bigger giveaways, cash, merch, tickets, and more. All from the biggest sports network in Detroit. No one does it bigger and better than Woodward Sports. Make sure you're following, liking, subscribing on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube for your chances to share in the winning. From Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports. Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward Sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Maine, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and WoodwardSports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go!
Hey guys, dreaming of a new home but feeling in a financial pinch? Mark White and Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's $5,000 right off the top. Call Mark White and Associates today, 248-290-8242. Head them up online as well, markwhitesells.com. Again, that number, Mark White and Associates, 248-290-8242, to make your dreams come true.
And let me tell you about Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Awesome is when a guy can be a guy and get an amazing haircut. That's Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. At Lady Jane's, we take the chore out of getting a haircut. Our talented stylist will deliver an industry-leading haircut, relaxing scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome. Back to some Lions talk now. Dan Miller going to join us in about 25 minutes from now. Josh Landon from Fox 2 with his David Montgomery story momentarily. I did want to talk about some of the injuries, though, that the Lions, we got news on yesterday. David Montgomery is expected to play. That was a concern most of us believed when he went down a couple of weeks ago, that his season was over. But that is not the case and is expected to play this week. Now, the news not so rosy. Obviously, Aleem McNeil, we knew he was out. Carlton Davis, he's going to be out. And Aiden Hutchinson even, he will most likely be out. And I think yesterday, thanks, Braylon Edwards. I think yesterday at the podium, Dan Campbell addressed this. And he says, look, there's season-ending injuries. And if anybody can do it, it is Aiden Hutchinson. Here's Dan Campbell talking about the injuries to Terrion Arnold, Kevin Zeitler, and then what he says about Derek Barnes and Carlton Davis. We'll play them both back to back.
We got better news on Zeitler and Arnold. I can't guarantee that they're playing, but it's much better than it appeared to be when the injuries happened. So, It's positive news. O'Connor is not as positive. It's the best way to say that for those three.
For long-term, looking like Carlton Davis, Derek Barnes, are they progressing like you would think?
They're doing great. I don't see them coming back at all. Those players won't. I don't see them coming back at all.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
How about Aiden?
Yeah, it's same thing. Look, I'm going to say it again. He has a season-ending injury, but if anybody can come back from this, it would be Aiden, is the best way to say it.
And again, a lot of that, I think the Hutchinson stuff is more about having him try to have some sort of what he believes is an attainable goal to help him stay focused. I don't know, Braylon, you've been through an ACL. You've been through injuries before. You've had to get the motivation to get up out of bed, to go through another workout or another therapy session, or when you know you're not playing at the end of the week. You just have to do these things. That can be really hard if you don't have what you believe is some sort of end line or some sort of goal.
Yeah, 100%. I guess I'll start there and then work my way backwards. Aiden Hutchinson, it's a lot of optimism there. Don't forget, though, he got hurt in college, and he was able to come back to the tune of breaking his father's records at the University of Michigan, the sacks in the season. So this is in his pedigree. This is a guy that we know he works his ass off, or he works his tail off, however you want to say it. So it's good for him to have an not attainable goal, but just to go, like you said, to work his mind. It's tough when you know that you're not going to play. It's tough when you're not going to meetings. You don't necessarily feel a part of it. You're like, what's going on? It's tough when your ankle isn't, or in his case, it's tibia. It's not healing as fast as you want it to, or it's not getting to the point you want it to. So it is tough, but he's keep working. He's keeping at it. They said he's ahead of schedule. Dan Campbell says, we're going to see what happens. So at the end of the day, it's about the team now, but who knows?
Josh Landon on with us. I want to read this from Jordan Leinert, $6. Problem is we start losing home field advantage. The higher ticket prices get. Sunday night showed that. Decibel Reader didn't hit a 120 for the first time.
Yeah.
That is definitely something we could talk about further. Thank you for that, Jordan Leinert. And again, if you want to get in, if you want to be a part of the show, $5 for a comment, $20 for a topic, anything answered, we can talk about it. $50 for a video call, and $500, 10 minutes in the mass chair in studio. There you go. He did not pay $50, but we're talking to him anyway. Josh Landon from Fox 2. How you doing, Josh? How are you, brother?
What's the word, brother?
I do not hear Josh. Do you guys hear Josh? Hold on 1 second, Josh. That's on us. 1 second. Try it now. You got us?
Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right. The great Josh.
Hey. Josh. I see a lot of salt and pepper in that beard, brother.
Man, I'm about to get a haircut in a minute. I just pulled up to the barber shop. Gotta get
okay. I like it.
Josh, I want you to share. I think this is one of the greatest stories I've ever heard, and it adds to who these Detroit Lions are. Can you tell us your David Montgomery story?
Absolutely. I'll go ahead and start from the beginning. This past Christmas, my mother, Leela, is from Montgomery, Alabama. Therefore, we were going down there for a big family gathering this holiday season. And ironically enough, my mother is a huge David Montgomery fan. Of course, his last name of who he is when he came here to Detroit from the Bears, and then got to watch him. Of course, we all know how talented David Montgomery is. She began to read up a little bit about his upbringing. Very humble beginnings, if you haven't read up on David Montgomery. Tough childhood, economic hardship, a true story of adversity. So my mom took a liking to him, along with the talent and the name. So with all 5 of us going to Montgomery, Alabama, me, my fiance, my mom, my sister, my stepdad, I went on this mission to get 5 David Montgomery jerseys for us to wear on Christmas Eve down in Montgomery, Alabama on the same night, all together as a family. So I got that part done. And I had my mom open up her present before we went down to Montgomery, Alabama. It was like a few days before we got on the plane and flew down there for the family gathering. My sister recorded my mom opening up her gift, and her instant reaction was just so genuine, just expressing how much she's a fan of Montgomery. David Montgomery saw that post on social media and commented and said, "Merry Christmas, Mom. I would love to meet you and sign it for you." When I saw that, I sent him a direct message asking simply, what can we do to make this happen? The brother responded saying, hey, let's keep in touch. After the holidays, we'll make it happen. I had a short, intimate family gathering this past weekend, low-key, very chill, kind of like a late holiday cheer. We got busy during the holidays, so we did it this past weekend to kind of make up for it. Him and his uncle came up, kicked it for about an hour or so, met my mom, kicked it with her, watched a little bit of the football game, part of Wild Card Weekend, watched a little bit of football with my mom, just talked to her, spent some time with her, and my mom said, hey, David, I want to do something for you. I want to do something with you real quick. And he said, all right, what's up? She grabbed his hands and said a prayer for him to make a healthy and speedy recovery so that brother can get back on the field and does what he does best. It was just, it's one for the books, man. David Montgomery, great brother on and off the field. Who pulls up to your home in a genuine way like that and show mom love? This was all for mom. It wasn't for me. Nothing like that. No story, nothing like that. It was an opportunity to try to do something special for mom. The brother helped me do it.
Hey,
I'm in full gratitude.
Josh, I say this, man, on behalf of all the Lions fans. Hey, Mom, when he plays in 2 weeks, we appreciate you.
Yeah, we're going to thank Josh's mom for
we
sure.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Mama Landon.
No, 100%. It's nothing like moms, man. It's nothing like moms. They know how to feed into the heart of players, feed into the heart of men, man.
As Ricky Henderson would say, moms do know best.
Right. And Josh, so I think it's so Josh, I think it's so incredible. I've been thinking about that story all day because he didn't have to do that. That's his free time. Do you know how many people I don't know, get a David Montgomery jersey? I mean, that is so special that he saw this on the feed and wanted to go reach out to you and meet your mom and your family. I just think that is one of the, we talk about culture all the time with the Detroit Lions, but that is what that culture is. Why don't the Lions go after player A or player B or player C or player D in free agency? You have to fit a mold when you play for Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. And if you're not a high character guy, you're out. We don't care how much talent you have. And that just, it makes you want to root for these guys even more than you're already rooting for them.
Without question. My mom was excited Saturday night. I'm looking at Orion saying, I think he's going to come. He said he's going to come. I have a good feeling it's going to happen. I'll say, Mom, don't get too excited. He's still a busy guy. He's a professional football player trying to get back into the mix of things. Let's not get too excited. When he pulled up, I said, thank you, Lord. Brother did it. He did it. Because you alluded to it. How many people actually do that? And they don't do it for everyone. But when they see a moment, when they see it's genuine, hey, You make it happen. And again, on and off the field, he comes from very humble beginnings. People who haven't looked up his story, I highly recommend you look him up and see where he has come from, what he has gone through, and where he is now. It's a story a lot of us in a city like Detroit, where you go through adversity, where you go through real grit on a daily basis, is one to be inspired by.
Hey, Josh, I really appreciate you sharing this story because there's so many of my my brothers in arms talking about NFL players or just athletes in general that really just are good people. And I think the media or the stories about, what players are or who players are a lot of times is portrayed into a couple of individuals. The bulk and the majority of individuals are like this because we know it took that family, it took that community to get us from Detroit, in my case, to U of M, to the league. So when you see people pulling for you, they don't have to share your last name or your DNA. You see, they're pulling for me. So
your
anytime
your stepdad was my computer science teacher at Denby High School.
100%. I left that out there. I was waiting to see if you took a hold of that, but pause. Yeah, man, this is just who we are, and it's great for us to give back because it's like, shoot, we know these people are praying for us. These people are pulling for us. So to get an opportunity like that, Demo, he represented for all of us. So, man, appreciate the story.
Hey, Josh, Josh, I know you got to get into an appointment, and as Rich Baldwin says in the YouTube chat, he says, let Josh get some sleep. He's probably been up since 2:30 a.m. So, Josh, thanks so much, man.
Give or take.
Fox 2's
Hey,
fine.
come sit in. Hey, man. Yeah, for sure.
One more thing that's important to mention. So Monty came to my home this past Saturday, of course, with his Uncle Mike. And his Uncle Mike shared something very important, too, that people should know. Just the tough journey Monty had from as a child going through college. That brother, according to his uncle, almost walked away from football in college.
It's incredible, isn't it? Isn't that incredible?
Man, it is
God bless
something
him.
for the books.
We're so happy he didn't, though.
I know it.
Without question.
Amen.
Hey, Josh, come whenever you're not napping.
Come see us.
Come see us. Come sit in the studio with us. Hang out with
It's
us.
a lot of hours work between those two guys on
We'll
screen.
get you a haircut here, Lady James.
Can we do a taper?
No, we can't
You know what I'm
tape.
talking about.
I just get my hair braided.
Oh, can you do a taper? I thought you said a
taper,
taping.
taper, man.
Yeah. They got you.
Hey, Josh, no comment.
Yeah, they got you.
No comment.
But I will take you up on that offer. Ryan, I'll be talking to you. We'll make that happen.
See you in the morning, brother. All right, Josh Landon,
Hey,
Fox 2. Check him out 4 to 6 a.m. and all throughout the morning on Fox 2. He was
good
with
brother
us
right
today
there,
on the
man.
9. That's
Good
a
brother.
good dude right there. That's a
I
good
got
dude
to meet
right there.
Montgomery last year, right before the Lions season started. It was high school football at Lakeview.
Oh,
in
yeah, I
St.
remember
Clair
you
Shores.
telling me he was there.
He came with his family. He was with, I think he was with his brother, his wife, and his kid. They were with the stroller. I got to walk around with him and chat with him, and he was so nice to everybody on that
I remember
field.
you said that.
Yeah, fantastic. And that's when he first started coming to Detroit. He just moved to Grosse Pointe at that time. And couldn't meet a nicer guy. And you see him on the sidelines pumping up his brothers and getting on Jahmyr Gibbs. And he's be back, man.
How
Dr.
does
Pierce
Chicago
was
let
right.
him
He's
go?
coming back.
How does Chicago let him go?
Oh,
Because
well, look, they're
it's
dysfunctional.
Chicago.
Yeah.
They're dysfunctional.
It's Chicago. Here's a funny story about me and Brady Quinn. Shout out to Brady Quinn. Their team plays, you said this Saturday, and they play
tomorrow.
Tomorrow, that's what you're
Fighting
telling me.
Irish and
Penn State.
Ohio State.
They play Penn State, don't they?
Ohio State tomorrow.
No, Ohio State plays Texas.
Oh, you're right. PSU and Notre Dame and
Penn State.
It is?
Yes.
I missed
Between the two
Texas and Ohio State.
Between the
I
two of
mixed
us,
the teams up.
it's okay. Between the two of us, we'll figure it out.
Sorry.
But this would have been 07, so this was Pro Bowl year in Cleveland, but this is rookie year for Brady Quinn. So we hear about the noise about this Avon Lake High School. Both of us live in Avon Lake, so we finally decide, man, we should pull up on our high school. Like, it's a lot of noise, a lot of people, a lot of crowd. So we end up going to the game, Ryan. We pull up, we walk out. They see us, they go crazy. You know me, I'm like, I'm Pro Bowl. I'm about to break the Browns record. I think it's me. Brady's sitting on the bench. Brady's from Ohio. This is Brady's town almost. Man, everybody ran up to Brady, was asking for pictures. All the little girls like, oh my God, Brady Quinn. Oh, what the fuck? It was all Brady Quinn. So much love. But it's fun like going back to those high school games like when you're in the NFL because that's where that love really starts, those high schools, Friday Night Lights, man. It's fun.
That's incredible stuff. I did want to, in the remaining minutes leading up to the top of the hour, go back to this situation with the crowds at Ford Field. And I everything is relative, but when you have a winner, I'm trying to put this in perspective too. When you have a winner, that's when the people with the money want to go.
Yeah.
That's when the people like go back to
it's a trend.
Go back to the Palace in 2004. Okay? If you wanted to be seen, if you wanted to be somebody, you were at the Palace in 2004. And I don't think regular people, a ton of them, were going to those games either. In 1997, when the Red Wings won their first Stanley Cup championship, and mind you, tickets weren't $2,000. Maybe they were.
It's relative.
But it is relative to the year that you're in.
Right.
But a $500 ticket to see a Red Wings game is like probably equivalent to what a $4,000 or $5,000 ticket would be now. And when your team is at a championship level, you're priced out. If you're a guy or a girl on a budget, if you're a family on a budget, you're not going. It's just what it has become. It's not what it's become. It's what it has always been. I think the hard part now is that the actual dollar amount is so high.
Yeah.
But if you go back years ago, whether 20 years ago to the Pistons when they were winning, or 30 years ago, essentially 25, 30 years ago when the Red Wings were winning, yeah, the number itself wouldn't be as high. But if you translate yourself back to that year that you were in, those tickets were no different than what the Lions games are now. And you weren't going then either.
I think a little bit more, though, Roy. I think they're gouging now more than ever.
I think people are making money more than now ever too. I think like everything's gone up, but in the last 3 years, like the time has just accelerated. It's gone faster than ever any period in my existence as it is. Price has gone up on everything.
But look what they did for next year, Bray. They looked at this year's prices.
Yeah.
They saw season ticket holders putting their $150 tickets up for $500 and getting them.
Yeah.
So what did they do? They outpriced the secondary market for next year. They became scalpers of their own tickets. So now if you want to scalp that, you really got to be exorbitant to charge. So the Lions double dipped going into next year.
So here's an example of, I have a friend who's had tickets in his family for 50 years. 2 years ago in the 2022 season, his tickets, he's got 4 seats at the 50-yard line in the first 10 rows.
$250 apiece.
His tickets in 2022 were $8,000. His tickets in 2023, his tickets in 2022, his tickets in 2023 were $8,000. Those same tickets this year were $14,000, and those same tickets next year are $17,000. Yeah. So in a 2-year period,
more than doubled.
Those tickets have more than doubled. I don't believe that's right, but at the same time, I also believe in a free market. And if sadly, if the Lions or insert any team you want, if you don't want to buy these seats anymore, that's fine. There's a laundry list a mile long of people that do, and that is how they get you. There is so much cash out there somewhere.
You guys know what I do with the Tigers every year. How many games do I go to?
A million?
About 30.
And when the playoffs came, what happened to me?
You were done.
I had to spend so much more money than I was spending in the regular season. So much more to barely get a decent seat. Barely get a decent seat. I don't know, man. To me, it's just it's too much. It's gouging. I'm as big a fan as there is in the world.
Let me read.
That's terrible.
It's just the price of doing business.
I don't disagree. This is sick argument here in the chat. Lower bowl Bills playoff game number 1 were 185. I know Ryan in general is right, but he's way off, making it sound like it's not wild prices here in Detroit. 185 lower bowl playoff game, Bills Detroit 1,600. I'm not really sure what he's talking about there.
I can tell you the Green Bay Packers do not do this to their fans.
But
they do not do this this extreme to their fans.
The Green Bay Packers have been making the playoffs for 30 years in a row.
That's it, too. And I guarantee you.
30 years in a row. This is new for the Lions.
Yeah.
I don't know. People have it. Like Ryan said, you got to pay it.
I agree, Braylon. I think that's it.
My girl has 4 club seats every year. She cracked even by 4 games into the season.
There is only this feeling so long before it tapers off.
It'll level off.
In Kansas City, you could probably go to a playoff game for $100. And you know what? On this, let's look at the Kansas City Chiefs get-in price. StubHub. I'm going to look at the.
Go to the Ravens because they're playing this week.
Well, what I'm saying is Kansas City. I'm going to Kansas City because you could get divisional round playoff games for Kansas City.
Okay.
See tickets, Kansas City. 2 tickets, $141.
Oh, man.
Yeah. They taper off. This is only this high because we've never seen it before.
Now go to the Lions, 2 tickets.
2 tickets.
Standing room last week was $365 plus fees.
Hold on.
That's a regular season game.
StubHub, Detroit Lions, divisional round, 2 tickets, section 343, $589. So, and Braylon has absolutely hit the nail on the head. This has never happened before. We're new to this. So let me ask you this. Do you think if the Lions host an NFC Championship game this year and win and go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl.
Tickets going up.
Listen to me. Do you think, what do you think is going to be higher? This year's NFC Championship game at Ford Field or next year's NFC Championship game at Ford Field?
Well, you're saying this year.
I'm saying this year.
Because next year is
the first
the same.
time.
Yeah.
It's the first time. And next year is going to be not the first time. And then heaven forbid they do it 3 or 4 years in a row.
I think next year.
You're getting in for $100.
No way.
Those
days are over.
Just like Kansas City. Kansas, mind you, this is the secondary market in Kansas City that's going for $141. This is the secondary market.
That's Joel Schwartz where you need him.
You call him up. He's on Fox 2 tomorrow.
Yeah, you guys get to talk about tickets. I get to tune out. But
why? You're a player.
I could care less. It's gonna be what it is.
You still get Super Bowl tickets?
100% if I want them. I got paid for them. They're less than what everybody else pays. But I mean, at the end of the day, next year it'll be more because they'll be defending Super Bowl champ Detroit Lions. I think after that year it goes down regardless of what they do.
Section 103, which is at the. Section 103
at
Arrowhead Stadium, which is at the 40-yard line, lower bowl seat.
For next week's game.
For next week's game. Lower bowl seat, 40-yard line, section 103.
$330.
Close. $370.
Per ticket.
Secondary market.
Yeah.
Secondary market.
Oh, man.
Detroit, let's see, same equivalent ticket, section 125, 1,082.
Yeah.
How many times have the Chiefs played in the playoffs in the last 8 years? That's the point.
You're making the exact.
I'm agreeing with you.
I'm agreeing with you.
Oh, what I'm saying,
you're teaching me.
Yeah.
You've seen it. It's like, we know the Chiefs are going to play in the playoffs. This is what we're going to charge first round. This is what we charge second round. If they make it to the AFC Championship, shocker, yes, they're going to make it. This is what we're charged. The Lions are like, hey, are we going to get here again? Like, we heard what Dan Campbell said last year. It's a lot of parity each year. We know what we built. Is Jared Goff going to be the guy next year?
So will season tickets go down too, right? No.
Okay. Probably not.
All right, so it's over.
Yeah.
It's over for me. It's over.
Probably is, man.
It's over.
You don't pay for tickets all the time anyway.
I'm just saying, if I want to go, my kids want to go. I can't go.
Kids, no.
I can't go.
No.
I went to.
We can give the Lions back to the losing side. You want the Lions to be losers?
I don't care.
Again?
Whatever.
I don't care.
I mean, I do care. I want them to win. Of course.
Right.
I'm just saying, it's already gone, man. We're done.
Well, I think the little guy is priced out anyway because these stadiums and these experiences are so much.
Did you see what the tickets are in New Orleans already? No. I looked them up. It's $2,500 on Delta.
Well, even if you go to Little Caesars Arena, look, we haven't seen a playoff game at Little Caesars Arena. You go spend $500, you're like, What?
Yeah.
I mean, last year, I haven't been this year yet. Yeah. Last year I went, I got a free ticket. I didn't pay for parking, and it still cost me $250 because I bought the guy that took me to the game. Yeah. I paid for a beer for him, a meal for him, and you're like $200. Jeez,
look, everything is expensive, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
Everything is expensive.
That's right. Hey,
maybe I go to the game with Dan Miller.
There you go. He's coming up next. Hour number 2, right around the corner. But first, a message from Dr. Pierce.
Oh, that's our guy. We're going to see him tomorrow. Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine, our expert sports injury insider. He joins us every Tuesday on Big D Energy. He joins us every Thursday. Keeps you in the game. Trust a guy that D-Mac and Braylon trust. Heck, we all trust him. Dr. Jeff Pierce, Michigan Sports and Spine.com, 248-426-9944.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Maine, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and woodwardsports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap-biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go!
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
Hey, gang, let me tell you about Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC. Are you overdue for a new car? Beat the holiday rush. Get an amazing deal from Les Stanford Chevrolet. Right now, a Blazer EV 2LT with all-wheel drive, only $149 per month. Or check out the Equinox EV LT, only $169 per month. Just scan that QR code on your screen right now. Cadillac, Buick, GMC, Chevrolet, Corvette, anything you need. Les Stanford in Dearborn and Ferndale. LesStanford.com, LesStanford.com.
Together, let's drive.
All right.
Hour number 2, Lions Talk. Dan Miller, voice of the Lions, sports director, Fox 2 Detroit, on with us now for his weekly segment. Dan, how are you, my friend?
Hey, Dan.
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Doing phenomenal, my friend. Phenomenal.
Hold on. Just because you happen to be here this Wednesday, you cannot steal my favorite interview.
Oh, I showed up to work today?
Come on, man. It's me and Dan Miller.
I saw you,
We've developed a relationship. It's my interview,
okay.
So you relax.
Fair enough.
Ryan.
I don't come to work on Wednesdays, Dan. I need a day off.
We're just joking over here. You take it over, Ryan.
It's so good to talk to you, big guy. Look, Sunday night was an incredible night where they cap off an incredible season. 15 wins, top seed, back-to-back division championships. How would you characterize this season for you?
Number one, good to see you. Number two, incredible. I was just talking to these guys, and when you consider the fact that this team was able to run and keep it going without Aiden Hutchinson, without Aleem McNeil, last month or so without CD3, without Barnes, losing Rodrigo, just a number of injuries. Davenport, whom they were hoping was going to give them a big balance on that defensive line off the edge. Just on down the line, Kaminsky in the preseason, a guy that they'd expect to get some snaps from. Just keep throwing the names out there of defensive players that they missed that were expected to play big roles. Headline, of course, one of the best defensive players in the league and one of the best interior defensive linemen in the league, and they just continue to win. So it's just, this offense has been something else. I just was looking at Jared Goff, the season that he's put together. Guys, it's historic what he did with some of the numbers that he put up. And it's coaching, it's players, it's never blinking, it's player procurement and then development. It's all those things. Ryan, it takes a lot to win 15 games in this league, and when you win 15 games against some of the odds that they did in terms of the injuries, it's even more impressive. And now I just don't think you put any limits on what's possible for this team, because every time we feel like we've had to do that, they've just broken right through whatever barriers we've put up.
There was a shot of Aaron Glenn midway through or towards the end of the fourth quarter just sitting on the bench with his legs up and his arm on the bench
he's done that a few times.
We did that.
He does that.
The game plan on Sunday night, that guy, what do you say about Aaron Glenn? I know Dan Campbell spoke at the podium yesterday and said, if we go another cycle without this guy, it's just not right, but I'll take him back.
Yeah, and I'm starting to get the sense he's going to get a job somewhere. I really believe that. They're the number one third down defense in the NFL. Let's start there. That's a great place to start because that means you're getting off the field pretty consistently. With what he has had, for the first couple of years that Aaron Glenn was here, he didn't have much to work with. End of last year, he didn't have much to work with in that secondary because of all the injuries that just taken guys away from his depth chart. And then you start this year, and he's loaded up pretty good, and then bit by bit, he just starts losing guys, but he figures out a way to keep it going. And then, over the last month leading into that game against Minnesota, started to see some cracks, started to see teams putting up big points. And you're thinking, man, you saw that game Monday night against San Francisco, and they had guys running open in that first half left and right. Open. And you start thinking, okay, if 18 does that, 3 does that, if 87 does that against Minnesota, and Naylor too, you're going to have some real problems. And they came out, and look, we knew what they had to do. They had to manufacture pressure and play a lot of man on the back end. That's what they did. They certainly got some help from Minnesota because, their quarterback picked a bad night to have a bad night. But still, you can't say enough about what Amik Robertson did, about what Terrion did when he was in there, about those safeties and what they've done all year. And the guys up front and how much it means to have Anzalone back and the steadying force that Campbell has been. And, Levi Onwuzurike picking a good night to have a good night. He has time after time made the most out of what has been available to him. And this was another case of him doing that. And I think he's done that throughout his time here. The numbers haven't always been great, but the numbers that count are the points on the board, and the Lions have been very, very good in that regard for a while now.
Dan, it's either the Packers for a third time this season, the Vikings for a third time this season, the Rams for a second time this season, or the third time in 12 months, or a Washington team for the first time, rookie quarterback. You don't want to pick your opponent, but
no, as soon as I pick them, it's going to happen.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean,
look, every single one of those presents an issue, Ryan. Mm-hmm. Look, every single one. Look, we know how good Green Bay is. We know how good Minnesota is. And we can say, look, Green Bay lost every 10-win team they played this year. They're still good. They still got playmakers on that team. Minnesota, look, they're really good. They won 14 games for a reason. And they would come back in here with the most motivation. Not that they didn't have that on Sunday night, but look, any one of those teams that you throw out there, and the Stafford storyline again, and Washington's been terrific this year. They're double-digit wins for a reason. This is the time of year where if you're in the divisional round of the playoffs, it's supposed to be a really tough game, and any of those teams would pose a really tough game for Detroit. But I think first and foremost, with the Lions, it's about the Lions. If that offense comes out and plays the way it's capable of playing, they're tough to beat because the other team has to catch up and keep up. And even in that game against Minnesota, where there wasn't a lot of scoring early, when the Lions got on that run and scored touchdowns on 3 consecutive possessions in the second half, and the defense had done what they've done to Minnesota in the red zone, it was tough for the Vikings to kind of hang on. And I think that's what gives them a chance. If you have doubts about the defense and if you still think they're going to be shorthanded and whatever the case is, that offense is the great equalizer for this football team. But, they just find a way to play complementary football with all 3 phases finding a way to chip in. So 15 wins. Whatever's going to happen, it's going to be a good team, but there's no reason to doubt that the Lions, if they play their game, can beat anybody left in this field.
Hey, Dan, I wanted to ask you about Dan Campbell. Obviously that game in San Francisco last year in the NFC Championship game was – you could replay that thing until you're blue in the face. End of the first half, a couple of the third downs, kick it, the field goal. What do you think Dan Campbell learned last year in the playoffs that he will bring into this year's playoff? And even some of the going for it on fourth down, will he just play how he plays or will he adapt to the game?
I think he's going to play the way he plays. And I think I've probably said this before on here, and I know that you weren't here, Ryan, but, I understand that people talk about that San Francisco game, and there are certainly some things that maybe you can question, and we did question at the time. But, again, I think it's a big picture type of thing. And what I say to people when they bring up that San Francisco game and the decisions is, do you remember the fourth down he went for against the Rams on a 4th and goal in a tight game that they scored a touchdown on? The only fourth down he went on in the entire game. Do you remember the fourth down where Craig Reynolds ran it in against Tampa Bay in a tight game, where if they don't get those 2 fourth downs, they might not have been in the NFC Championship game? So you can constantly pick at the bad, but also let's remember the good. Let's remember a couple of fourth down calls that he made that if they settle for 3, maybe they don't even get there. So I don't think he changes a lot from where he was last year. I just think, Ryan, I think he is who he is. And we've seen it. We saw it against Minnesota as well. He's going to go for some fourth downs. He's going to do some things that might feel like it's against the grain for some other teams. But I'd also submit this. I think more teams now are leaning towards the way Dan Campbell plays the game versus Dan Campbell coming back to the field. I just think that offense is the unit on this team for years now that he has trusted more than any other. And if he can keep the football in their hands at a critical time, he's going to do that. So I don't think a lot comes out of that game. I think if players play the way they're capable of playing in that game against San Francisco more often than not, I think they probably end up winning that game. I think there was some times where they fell short. Did I agree with every call he made? No, but I haven't seen any big difference this year from Dan Campbell based on what happened in that San Francisco game.
Dan, good to talk to you, even though my guy hijacked my seat, but, it's all good. I love him dearly. No, Dan, Happy New Year to you. I hope you had a happy holiday as well as a Happy New Year as well. Let's talk about a guy who fumbled in the NFC Championship last year, and then this year he breaks the Detroit Lions record for touchdowns in the season, 1,400 yards, 20 touchdowns, and, oh, by the way, he seems to have proved that he didn't necessarily have to be switching carries with David Montgomery. Talking about Jahmyr Gibbs, Pro Bowl's finest. Just talk about the season he's had, especially last game, ever since David has been hurt, where they said, can he shoulder the load, or is he a split back type guy? Seems like 170 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's a guy that can handle the load.
Braylon, I think this, and Happy New Year to you as well. I think you can say both things are right. You can say he's a split back because that's better for him, and it's less wear and tear for him, and there's really no problem with having David Montgomery on the field. And then you can also say, or Craig Reynolds, and hats off to Craig for the way that he's played the last couple of weeks. He's done a really nice job for them when he's been called on. But I think you can also say he's easily a guy that could shoulder the load. We talked about this on our radio show Monday night. He's a superstar. He's one of the best players in this league.
Ooh, good call.
Period. Not just one of the best running backs in this league. He's one of the best players in this league. Like Jamison Williams, he's a one-play touchdown guy. And I think he has proven he's a power guy. He's an inside guy. He's an outside guy. He's well over 1,000 yards. He's 20 touchdowns. I mean, I don't really know what else he can prove. But I think your question is a good one. And I think the answer is whatever it takes. But I think in this day and age, it's really nice to have two guys that can split the load. Unlike when we grew up and it was some dude getting 300 carries in a season, and then, before long, you're noticing, man, he's missing a step. I think the more that you can spot guys, and having two top-tier guys like Gibbs and Montgomery is probably the exception to the rule a lot of times, but the more that you can spot guys, there's no problem with that. It keeps them fresh, and I think, if he had been a carry-the-load guy all team, would he look as good in Week 18 as he did? The answer, I think, is certainly no, but I think they've played it the right way with him. But he's just flat out one of the best players in this league, and he's proven that.
You're absolutely correct about him being a split back, because you telling me Saquon Barkley would turn down to Dave Montgomery or Derrick Henry turn down to Dave Montgomery? You're absolutely correct on that, man.
Hey, Dan, I wanted to ask you about Jared Goff. I mean, he has been superb, and I know he threw a couple of interceptions, and the one that he threw, that long pass from the end zone to J-Mo, I don't know if J-Mo wasn't on the same page, but, he was going for the deep ball. But here's what my wife said it. He don't look any different if he's throwing a 50-yard touchdown or an interception. I'm talking about Jared Goff. This guy has got the best poker face that I've seen in a long time. You get Aaron Rodgers, you see him cursing under his breath and all of that. I mean, this guy is playing at his peak right now. And I know no one mentions him for the MVP because there's so many other great players ahead of him, but he's an MVP to me.
Okay, and I wasn't being rude. I was listening to everything you said, but I wanted to pull this up. Goff this year, 72.4% of his passes, 111.8 quarterback rating. Those are both the best ever in franchise history. 37 touchdown passes, 4,600 yards. I'm reading off Greg Miola from the Lions post-game notes here. First player in NFL history to complete at least 72% of his passes and throw for more than 4,500 passing yards in a season. 72.4 completion percentage, finishes the fourth highest in NFL history. Joins Patrick Mahomes, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady, Dan Fouts, Drew Brees as the only quarterbacks that were able to do that and produce 3 seasons with at least 4,500 passing yards and 30 touchdowns. Look, the guy is one of the best players in the league, and he's also pretty much unflappable, to your point. When he makes a mistake, he doesn't just get angry and he just knuckles down and finds a way to get it done the next time they get the football. And I think that's one of the things that really stands out about him. When he does make a mistake, he finds a way to come back. Even the Houston game, and there were some, weird interceptions in that game.
That's that Sunday night slot, man. That's that Sunday night slot.
2 interceptions. Even when they're, getting knocked around or batted up in the air, he just finds a way to keep coming back. And I think it's probably emblematic of what his career has been, because he could have easily stayed down when he left Los Angeles, but he battled and he rose up with his team. And now there's no other way of putting it other than he's one of the best quarterbacks in this league. And anybody who's still a doubter, they just have an agenda, because this guy has gotten it done. And it doesn't guarantee you anything next week. It doesn't. But his body of work has been outstanding. And he runs this offense, impeccably most weeks. And there's a reason that they're up at the top of the offensive standings in most key categories. And look, it's a unit that works well together. It's a great offensive line. It's great running backs, as we've talked about. It's big play receivers. And it's that guy in the middle pulling the trigger when they need it the most.
And how about the guy on the other side, the quarterback of the defense, and that's Alex Anzalone. I never saw a defense come together more than what he brought that team. And he was in pain that game. He played well ahead of where he should have been playing, but he made all the difference. He made Amik Robertson step up the way he did, Jack Campbell, the rest of his team. It's on Anzalone, man. I take my hat off to that guy.
Yeah, let me go back to the offense for just a second. And I said this the other day. I think we take for granted, so I want to make sure I mention him, and that's Amon-Ra. And every time they need a play, that dude's there. Every single time they need a play, they find a way to get him the football. And he's just, again, one of the best players in this league, an amazing player, an All-Pro last year, and certainly somebody that should be right up there again this year. Look, I just thought it felt different with 34 back out there.
Hell yeah.
I just felt like everybody kind of exhaled a little bit. And then you get to the way that he plays, his athleticism, the way he flies around the field, the way that he can cover a TJ Hawkinson out of the backfield, the way that you can send him on a blitz and he can get home because he's fast and reckless and relentless. I just think it's maybe, again, a guy that we don't appreciate enough, but sometimes you appreciate it more when he's not there, and then you see what it looks like when he comes back. And I thought we saw that with Alex on Sunday, but it just felt good to have him back out there. And I think, to your point, the defensive players around him felt better as well. And it bodes well for them going forward to have him in the lineup, because whatever happens here in the next 5 days of how this thing sorts itself out, you're going to have some really good offensive players coming in here, and they're going to need all hands on deck with his defense to find a way to slow the other team down. And you're better when he's out there.
Hey, Dan, last thing. Did you happen to hear at all Josh Landon's story about David Montgomery?
I did, yes. And it doesn't surprise me. I mean, it just... he's an amazing guy. I mean, if you want to tell a story, go ahead. We coming over to say hello to Josh's mom.
Yeah, we had Josh on. Awesome. Yeah, we had Josh on earlier today, and he told the story. And I just this Lions team itself, it's just so great. This run coincides with how great a people they are and how they've wrapped their arms around really this entire fan base. And we see teams, you see teams, the fans this and the fans that. That's not who this team is. They embrace everybody. They want everybody on board. They want everybody to feel a part of it. And it's so easy to like this team, to love this team. And I just thought that moment kind of encapsulates who this team is as a culture, as a people. And it adds so much more to this run.
They've said it a number of times, Ryan. Not everybody can play for the Lions. And part of that is, are you a character fit? And look, you throw 53, 16, 69 guys in a room, everybody's not going to have the highest character in the world. It's like society. It's a cross-section of society. But it does matter with this team. They do try to bring good guys in here that will represent the team in the locker room, on the field, and in the community well. And I think their batting average is really high. And I would just, tell people, if you want to get to know him a little bit, go back and listen to him on the St. Brown Brothers podcast. I think it was from last year. And you get a real feel for who he is and what his background is and how he grew up. And nothing was easy for him, not as a young boy growing up, not as somebody trying to get to college, not as somebody trying to get noticed. But he's battled every step of the way, and he's been somebody with just high character every step of the way. And you bring up a great point. It is part of this team that I think bands them together, is just that they love each other, but they also respect the hell out of each other in the way that they perform as people and as professionals. And I do think that matters. It's a word we throw around all the time, and so many times we use it incorrectly, and it's culture. But there is culture here, and it does matter, and it does carry you through some difficult times and help you get over some hurdles, and he's certainly part of that.
Hey, Dan, we heard Dan Campbell is going to chill with the family this weekend. He might even go away for a little bit, get out of the office. What are your plans for the weekend? You going to watch all the games?
Look, I kind of said my dream scenario was we got to win, and then I wanted to see let's watch Minnesota go to L.A. and let those two teams battle. And let's watch Green Bay go to Philadelphia and let those two teams battle. And you know what? Full respect to all four of those. And then Washington and Tampa, which I think is going to be a heck of a game.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to just sit back and watch them do what they do. But I'll be in full chill mode. I can promise you that.
Good.
It's going to be a fun weekend. And I am very much indebted to this team for earning me a bye while I'm working this weekend, and earning all of us a bye where we can just sit back and watch and know that we got football coming to Ford Field next week. But it'll be fun, and it's, man, you just take a lot of pride in what these guys did, and part of that is really just being able to sit back and appreciate it this weekend when they're not playing guys, which we've never experienced here before, and it's a pretty cool thing.
Hey, what's your take on the Monday night playoff game? Shouldn't that should be abolished, if you ask me?
Yeah, I mean, look, we know why these things are done. It's done for money. They're just trying to spread this thing out. As a viewer, look, I love the fact that we got football Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I love that. Would I want to be that team flying from the West Coast? Look, we just played in San Francisco in a night game. We got back at like 7 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. Wasn't fun. And I guarantee you, those guys who felt it a lot more than I did, losing that day going into that Minnesota game wasn't easy for the coaches, for the players, or for anybody. And whoever wins that game, be it San Francisco or LA, even if LA stays at home, and they won't play till Sunday after that Monday night game, it's still going to be really tough. So I get where you're coming from. But I think we also know why this stuff happens. It's because of money, and we will all gladly sit back and watch.
And Dan, just quickly, thanks for spending all this time with us. That's why there's no doubt that if the Lions play either the Packers or Commanders, that's a Saturday night game, right? I mean, they're not going to make the winner. If the Lions had to play the winner of the Rams and the Vikings, they're not making them play on Saturday.
I can't imagine.
No.
I don't see any way that happens, Ryan. And I just logic dictates that would not be the case, that would not be fair. In particular, if it's Minnesota, to make them travel to the West Coast and then come back and play on Saturday, that would have to be a Sunday game.
Absolutely.
They're good like that. And that's why you kind of knew that even Minnesota, I mean, the AFC games are Saturday. I mean, we knew pretty early on that game, because of the matchup with the Rams, regardless of who it was going to be a Monday night game. So, yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that would end up being a Sunday game.
Hey, Dan, real quick, and we'll let you get out of here. In the words of Kobe, job's not done. We understand that yet. But have you had a second to think? Because you were here in 2008, and now you're here in 2024. 0-16 versus 15-2. Like, how the tide is shifted. Have you had a second to just kind of reflect and say, man, I was there in 2008. Man, I'm here now.
Yeah, I mean, really, Braylon, all the time, because I have more time to reflect on things like that than a player who's got to worry about somebody trying to hit him in the mouth in 4 days. Look, I'm just – this organization, the way it's run, the people that run it, it's just so impressive. And when you've seen it done the wrong way, a frustrating way, the juxtaposition between the two isn't lost on anybody. And I've had people from other cities, man, how'd you do it? And it's really just find the right people, put them in charge, let them do their job. And as they do their job, with more decisions they make, things get better. And it's, I've said this before to you guys, winning and losing aren't that much different. When you're losing, you make a bunch of bad decisions, and sooner or later you look down and your roster stinks and you're a bad team. When you're winning, you make a bunch of good decisions, and sooner or later you look down and you got a good team. So it's not that much different. It's just that they're going in different directions. But I have a great appreciation for what I'm watching here and seeing the way they operate and the way they do their business and just how professional they are, how much they stick to their guns. They don't just jump at shiny things. Even when we think, Maz thinks they should, they don't do it. and that's impressive to me. Nice. Let me just throw this out, too. Guys, we see it with the Pistons right now, too. They were so horribly, and I don't mean to go off a tangent here.
No, go ahead.
No,
Take
please.
your time.
Horribly mismanaged last year from Jaden Ivey on down.
Yeah.
And now you watch this group coming in, and look, they're still writing their story, but the look last year compared to this year, that's management, leadership, and direction. So it's not just the Lions. It's putting the right people in charge, and all of a sudden good things start to happen. And it's fun to sit back and watch that, and it gives you a great appreciation for people that are really good at their jobs.
JB Bickerstaff, this is this is the 2022 Detroit Lions. I think what we're seeing, you know what I mean?
Listen, I'll take it. And it's, I mean, you can't take away from what they've done. And Ryan, it just looks different. Mm-hmm. It just looks different. And the players are getting better. That's the thing. And that always has to be the case in the world of professional sports. Your players have to get better and improve. And last year we just looked at what was going on and we shook our head. And clearly we can say now it was badly mismanaged. And now we see just how different it looks. And that's not me throwing stones at anybody. That's saying, look at this and look at this. Now compare. And it's fun to watch. And it's the same thing we're seeing. And guys, I hope we're seeing that with all of our teams right now, because I sent this out the other night on X. I feel like in McClellan's obviously early, but man, doesn't it feel like maybe finally all 4 teams have got that coaching position in the right spot? And that would be a really cool thing if they keep it going with the Wings and keep it going with the Pistons. And we know what A.J. Hinch is doing and what Campbell is doing, but it feels good in Detroit right now to have some of the things that we have going. And when you watch it, to your original question, man, yeah, you absolutely appreciate what's going on and how it's happening.
Well, thanks to the Lions. Hopefully you and Woody and Jen and Greg Canner and Matt Trump get a little bit of a lighter week this week. That way Canner can go nuts.
Get to sit back and watch.
Canner can go nuts watching the Washington Commanders.
There it is.
Dan, too.
See, you usually get out 320 messing with me.
Dan, thanks, my man. Check
Thanks,
Dan
guys.
out, obviously,
Thanks,
Fox 2 Sports Director. Check him out 5, 6, 10, and 11 tonight. And, of course, check him out on the Lions Radio Network. And check him out on YouTube as well.
Check him out everywhere.
YouTube X. What the Lions put together with his calls is a must-watch for me. It is so great. And just to be able to see Mike Bratta in there, hand him the yellow sticky notes, that is one of my favorite parts there. Guys, we got to take a break. When we come back, we'll go around the NFL. But first, a message from
Merch. Hey,
us.
And it is WSN Merch. And y'all see the new merch on the screen. We got playoff gear ready to go. The famous BTA slogan is now on the shirt, man. Your NFC North champions have it. And, of course, we got the Dan Campbell Grit Detroit football shirt, all available to you if you go to woodwardsports.com, click that shop tab. And we got a whole bunch of other stuff, too. Hoodies, tees, hats, everything guaranteed to turn heads, but only if you go to woodwardsports.com and click that shop tab. We'll be right back.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network. The bad boys from the NFL are here. Your 2024 Detroit Lions are the hardest hitting, highest flying, trickiest playing, grittiest team in the NFL.
A dominant team.
Get all your coverage of your favorite team right here in your favorite network. Woodward Sports. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today. Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you. No one gives away more cash and prizes than Woodward Sports. You don't believe us? Here's our latest $10,000 winner.
You know, you guys posted, hey, if you guess all this stuff right, we'll give it's $10,000. I'm like, okay, well, why the hell not?
And the winning doesn't stop there. How about our Outkick Your Coverage winner?
Let's give it up for David Tully, everybody. David Tully. This guy's got a hot girl.
Bigger prizes, bigger giveaways, cash, merch, tickets, and more. All from the biggest sports network in Detroit. No one does it bigger and better than Woodward Sports. Make sure you're following, liking, subscribing on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube for your chances to share in the winning. From Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
And I am here to tell y'all about some of the best coffee on the market right now in my Pete Spivak voice, Sabbath Coffee Roasters. Whether you're going or gearing up for a big game or savoring a quiet morning, Sabbath Coffee Roasters has you covered with fresh, locally roasted specialty coffee delivered right to your door. Head to SabbathCoffeeRoasters.com, choose your favorite roast, use code word Woodward to get a 25% off your first subscription order. Awake, unwind, and support local and enjoy game day right with Sabbath Coffee Roasters. And while you're doing that, you might as well enjoy the playoff edition of Woodward and Maine and the pregame show. Shout out to our sponsors, Sabbath Coffee, Tullamore Dew, Irish Whiskey, New Holland Brewing Company, and Second Best Bar, man. But every game day, kick off your morning with Matt Broder and the legend Terry Foster. 8 to 9 a.m. usually will be adjusted for game time as well. And then after that, you got the playoff pregame show with the Golden Voice, Neil Rule, and my boy Sean Belegian bringing you the hottest Lions takes and all the inside information. And every day, that is 10 a.m. to noon, and it will be adjusted for game time as well. All on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports. We back.
Going to go around the NFL in a minute. Just wanted to put this out from Jordan Schultz. Ben Johnson, the top candidate in this year's cycle, scheduled to interview with 4 teams, virtual meetings, because you can't do in-person meetings until you're out. That is correct. Raiders and Patriots on Friday, Bears and Jaguars on Saturday. I believe he's going to the Jags.
I called Jags yesterday.
Well, I called Jags a week ago.
Okay.
He beat you to it.
I think Aaron Glenn's going to New Orleans, and I think Ben Johnson's going to the Jags. And
who do they bring with them is the question.
Mark Brunell. I think you
Kelvin Sampson to
do
go
not
with Aaron.
underestimate that relationship that Ben Johnson has with Mark Brunell and Mark Brunell's potential pull to get back to where he came from as a player.
Saints aren't the only former team in the running for Aaron Glenn. Don't count out the Jets.
Yep, that's also a possibility.
I know the Jets are a dumpster fire every year, regardless of how well they try to do, but don't count them out of New York. That defense is real good. Defense had a down year this year.
They need a GM as well. They're the two teams need a GM.
They got
the Jets and Tennessee.
They got some new moving parts, obviously, with Woody stepping down for a year or so. So we'll see.
I think his 16-year-old son is running the Jets right now.
Oh, send him there.
Hey, you saw what happened when the
Joe Shane?
What's his name? Dolan, James Dolan left the Knicks. They got good all of a sudden. Maybe they need Woody Johnson to leave the Jets to get good all of a sudden.
How about those Raiders, by the way? They part company with Antonio Pierce. 1 year, and he's gone. That's the breaks, I guess. He didn't really get a chance. Him and Tom Tedesco were both hired last year, GM and coach coming together. Antonio seemed like he had that fire, Bray. He was a great player for the Giants. I could see the Giants maybe reaching out to him as a D coordinator going forward. But he didn't get a fair shot either.
Well, everything he has that fire, but I don't think he's a head coach in this NFL. And even though it was only a 1 year deal, and this is a friend of mine, even though it was a 1 year term, I think for the Raiders it was, this isn't the year. There's not a coach out there we want. We're not going to be good next year. Why bring a guy in, pay him money when we know the team's not good? So it was a 1 year situation to kind of see what Antonio Pierce can do. Gave him a chance to be the head coach, don the head coach title, but he'll go back to being defensive coordinator. And at least he has gotten his feet wet with being a head coach. He just wasn't ready. The situation wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. So it makes sense.
Well, he's got Aiden O'Connell as his quarterback and Gardner Minshew, so he really didn't have that much of a shot. Tom Brady, of course, one of the minority owners now of the Raiders, is going to be heavily involved here with Mark Davis in picking the next head coach. And there was a rumor that he himself called Bill Belichick and said, listen, we'll get you out of that deal with North Carolina. You come here and you could run the team. That's a rumor out there.
And again, that is all part of what we said was going to lead to Belichick taking that North Carolina job, and it's that his son Steven is going to be the head coach there eventually in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or no years. Maybe it'll be now. That's part of the deal. So we'll see. I do believe Bill Belichick is going to coach in the NFL next year. And I think if you just go as far as Atlanta, man, I think if Atlanta had to do it all over again, I think they would have settled on Belichick. But Kraft really sabotaged that. Robert Kraft really sabotaged that. There's a strained relationship there. But Brady, he knows.
We all want this guy to be the Jets' next head coach. I know at least us in this room do.
I do.
And it's Rex Ryan. And there's a lot of New Yorkers that want to see him come back, too. He's been great with Greeny on ESPN. He's great on the NFL pregame show, game day on Sunday. I love listening to him. He looks good. He looks healthy. And he told New York radio this week that he expects to be the Jets' next head coach.
You think you're going to get this job, right? You think you're going to be the next head coach of the Jets?
Oh, 100%. Absolutely, I do. And the reason I think I'm going to get it is because I'm the best guy. And it ain't close. The thing that you have to do, you have to connect with a football team. You have to connect with your fan base. And the way they play, that's the most important thing. Not just the X's and O's and all that. Look, this Ben Johnson, I love him. I absolutely love him. But I'm a better candidate for this job than he would be.
There you go, Bray.
Yeah, he's a Jet. And
What say you?
He's a Jet, and I'm a Jet. Look, I die on the hill of being a Jet. He took a lot of pride in being a Jet, more pride than I've probably seen any other head coach to don those colors. So is he a leader and motivator? Man, yeah, he is, 100%. This time around, though, if he got that gig, you can't trust your coordinators and let them be the death of you. There are a lot of coordinators in his tenure that he could have got rid of a little bit faster, maybe helped himself. He's a great coach. He's a great motivator. But you got to make sure your coordinators are the guys, much like Dan Campbell did with Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. So it's all about the guys that he would hire, all about the guys that you would bring in. Don't just bring in some guys that you coached with when you were in Baltimore or you were in New York or you were in Buffalo because you're loyal or because these are your friends. You bring some guys that know what the F they're doing.
Is Rob Ryan still around?
What? No, and that's not. I wouldn't bring Rob on.
Yeah.
Like, I would bring Rob in some capacity. That's his twin brother. That's his brother. I love Big Rob.
Yeah.
I was with him in Cleveland. He came on
I
when I
love
got
seeing that
traded.
guy on the sidelines.
Well, I just love seeing the hair.
Yeah.
And you just love seeing the hair flying around the
Crazy.
sideline. But you got to bring guys that understand this climate, that understand what it is, because you're going to be going against guys like Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn all throughout this conference, all throughout this league. So get the right people. But yes, I support Rex.
What do you say, Ryan?
I think that Rex Ryan is absolutely right in this assessment. I think Rex Ryan is a better coaching candidate for the Jets than Ben Johnson is. I think there are certain coaches that are way better fits in place A than they are in place B.
Dan Campbell doesn't work for Los Angeles Rams.
Correct.
He does not.
Correct.
It does not work.
Dan Campbell fits Detroit so well. Aaron Glenn, I think, would fit New Orleans so well. And yes, I think part of that fit is having that tie. I don't think it's an absolute necessity, but I do think it comes with something.
What, being black?
Why's it got to be about that? But when you come from a place and you've had success at that place, I think it's if you know where the grocery store is without looking at a map, I think you're a pretty good fit there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, look at Ann Arbor and Jim Harbaugh.
I would love Rex Ryan to be the Jets' next head coach, even though he is in that age group where, you get passed over these days. I still think he brings the most with him. I really believe it. Maybe he brings the next head coach of the Jets with him.
Hey, just speaking of the Jets for a minute, there is a radio host in Columbus. His name is Anthony Rothman. This is his post at 2 o'clock today. A legendary Buckeye, Chris Spielman, will interview for the New York Jets general manager job. He's a current executive assistant to Detroit ownership, has single-handedly changed the culture of the Lions by impacting hiring of Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. So, according to this radio host out of Columbus, legendary Buckeye Chris Spielman will interview for the New York Jets general manager job.
See, that's the difference with Chris Spielman and what he's done in the front office in terms of what Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn have done. Like Chris Spielman, I appreciate what he's done. He's a hell of a Detroit Lion. Mad's favorite Lion in that 90s run. You see what he's done. He's in part of this identity that they have in that locker room. Well, Chris Spielman and that front office have a part of that identity because him as a Detroit Lion. But we wouldn't miss him when he's gone because he's already helped insert this identity. He's already insert these are the pillars. These are the type of guys we're looking for. Brad Holmes has he has the keys. So you're losing Chris Spielman, but you still got the guys that help put that thing in place. See, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn is slightly different. That's why I'm slightly curious to see what next year looks like without those guys, because what other coordinator in this league could have done what Aaron Glenn did with this defensive line or these pieces that have been missing on the defense all season
Well, there
long?
you go. There could be your culture change in New York. Chris Spielman and Aaron Glenn could be your
Oh, man,
right?
I would love that package as a general.
There it is.
Could you believe it? You know what I mean? Chris Spielman and Aaron Glenn in New York to the Jets. That feels like a very distinct possibility. And I think if you're Chris Spielman, I have always wondered during the broadcast on Sunday Night Football, there was a maybe it was Sunday Night Football. Was it this week or maybe it was the Monday night broadcast in San Francisco. Right. It was actually the Monday night broadcast.
They showed them.
They showed the box of Sheila up there. And
why was it so quiet in there?
Brad Holmes, because they're all business, bud.
You're lying.
All business.
You can hear a pin drop in that.
They are all business. Yeah. It was Chris Spielman, Brad Holmes, Rod Wood, and I believe Sheila was in there somewhere. And I wondered when watching this, is this it for Spielman? Is he fine just being this, I don't want to say this other guy, but this piece? Yeah. He's not the man. Yeah. He's a piece here in the front office, albeit a very important piece. But he's not the decision maker. He's a decision influencer. Does he ever want to be the guy that makes the actual final decision? And by taking this interview, I think you really have your answer there. He does want to do that. I don't think if you don't want that, you probably don't take that interview. But for Chris Spielman, he's done. Look, he's got the pedigree. His brother was a longtime general manager of the Minnesota Vikings.
Still a manager.
Rick Spielman. Yeah. He has learned every aspect of this organization here in Detroit, from the owner to the president to the general manager to the head coach. He has done that over the last 4 years, and I think that is an internship or pretty much that is a fellowship, whatever you want to call it, into really a seat as a general manager in this league.
A lot of times when you find your path to your destiny or your road or what you're going to be or what you're going to be known by, ultimately, it's by happenstance. And I think that's a situation that's happening with Chris Spielman, where it's like, hey, I'll come back. I want to get re-involved with the Lions. I don't like where they're at. I see if I can help out, maybe learn some things. And I think over time, this has built to where, I actually do understand the front office. I do know what it takes to kind of, help a coach or be part of the Holy Trinity with the head coach, the GM, and the owner, if you will. So now he's taking that meeting. Same thing with Marcus. My brother-in-law who got with the Jacksonville Jaguars, head of player development, now working around in scouting as well as the front office. That started just wanting to get back in football. Mark said, hey, man, I just want to be part of the game again, man. I want to be down here. Jacksonville gave me an opportunity, kind of shadow, see what I can do. And now he knows where his goal is. His goal is ultimately to be president of operations for the Jaguars or another NFL team. It happens, but you didn't know that was going to be the case. And I think that's what happened with Chris. You don't know till you know. And now that he knows, he's like, oh, yeah, this is what I want to do. I see I can create some change. And it's a division that he knows, because last time I checked, he left here to go to Buffalo.
Yep. One more break, guys. We'll be back. Wrap it up next. But first, a message from...
We are going to do Caesar's Sportsbook.
Look at that. How
and
about
Caesar's Sportsbook. Nah, I said, it's on me not, man. Caesar's Sportsbook. If I told you that you can place any bet up to $1,000, and if you lose, you get that bet back, you would think I'm crazy. You probably think I'm crazy anyway. But scan this QR code, enter code word Woodward 1000, and if your first bet doesn't hit, you'll get your deposit bet back up to $1,000. That's right, up to $1,000 back in your pocket just for giving it a shot. Minimum bet just $20. Download the Caesar Sportsbook app today. It's the official sportsbook of Woodward Sports. Once again, that QR or that promo code is Woodward 1000. Woodward 1000, or scan the QR code on the screen. We will be right back.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
No one gives away more cash and prizes than Woodward Sports. You don't believe us? Here's our latest $10,000 winner.
You know, you guys posted, hey, if you guess all this stuff right, we'll give it's $10,000. I'm like, okay, well, why the hell not?
And the winning doesn't stop there. How about our Outkick Your Coverage winner?
Let's give it up for David Tully, everybody. This guy's got a hot girl.
Bigger prizes, bigger giveaways, cash, merch, tickets, and more. All from the biggest sports network in Detroit. No one does it bigger and better than Woodward Sports. Make sure you're following, liking, subscribing on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube for your chances to share in the winning. From Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Have you heard of a long drink, the gin-based cocktail? We've got one made right here in Michigan, made with all natural ingredients for better flavor. Taller, the Dutch long drink from New Holland Brewing Company is shoulders above the rest. Made from New Holland small batch gin, 100% real grapefruit puree for a fresh and delicious flavor. Taller is your local long drink.
Signature wings at Soroki's for a limited time only. I keep telling you, lemon pepper is the best. But Soroki's is known for the crispy chicken and pizza, man. So anytime you pull up on them, you can go in there, look at that menu, you can pick something. I guarantee you, 80% chance it's going to be good, man. Look, don't forget about those honey biscuits as well. Soroki's signature wings, limited time only. Remember that Nashville Hot was here and then it wasn't? So soon will be these wings. For Soroki's, were the real fans' favorite.
All right, welcome back. Final segment of the show. Braylon introduced us here.
Oh, guy standing to my left of mine is none other than Paul Sahady. He was a football coach at Bishop Galley. He's a Detroit police officer for 35 years and 6 or 29.
Well, that's 29.
Yeah, so you're 29 in right now.
Hopefully be 30.
29 in, and his father taught me everything I know about football.
Big
Stan
George.
didn't teach me. Big George Sahady. He's here in studio. Paul, what's going on, brother?
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here. You know, Mr.
Same.
Mazaway and everybody invited me.
Mr. Mazaway, you get
Look
that
at
respect
Tom
over there. Look at
Mazaway
that.
Paul's a fellow St. Joan guy, you know, like me. His kids went to St. Joan, and he's our PA announcer at St. Joan of Arc.
Yes.
He does the prep bowl at Ford Field, does all the high school games. He's a broadcaster. He wants to be a broadcaster. He wants to give up the police for a broadcasting
Look at
career.
that.
Here it is.
All right.
Remember
There's
those
a pay
days, man,
cut, you know.
at the Silver Dome.
It is a pay cut. It's a major pay cut, by the way.
What's your take on some of the conversation that's been happening today?
Well, I mean, everybody's talking about the Lions. It's just amazing to me that, you know, where they've been. And, you know, I was talking to Tom earlier about, you know, the goals that they've achieved. Last year they were, you know, division champs, and we were excited. They went all the way to the NFC Championship game. Now this year they obtained 2 new goals. They're the #1 seed, never had a 15-2 record. So it's exciting. I mean, it's amazing. And, you know, you're starting to look at all the seeds and who they're going to play. And I personally want to see them play Washington. I don't want to see them play anybody that they've already played this year.
That's real.
And but I do think in this bracket in the NFC, I think anybody can beat anybody. I think Philadelphia can get upset. The Rams can get upset. You know, Tampa Bay can get upset, obviously. So it's a great time. And I think what Dan Campbell has done is these guys remind me of high school football players. The way they play so hard for this coach. It's unbelievable how hard they go. And there's so many injuries that people talk about, but you don't realize that Braylon knows this. He played in the NFL. It is so hard to play with that many injuries, but he coaches up all these guys to be ready to play. It doesn't matter. It's the next man up. And us as fans, we don't care how they get there, who's on the field. We just want them to win, right? So we expect them to win, but it's difficult. So.
Yeah, recency bias is tough because obviously now we watched that Minnesota Lions game. They won 31-30-9. They beat the hell out of the Vikings. But before that game, that was going to be a brawl for it all. It was going to come down to the wire. It's going to be a great game. What did you learn about the Lions after that game? Because I didn't think it was going to be 30-9.
Well, what I learned is that they're just so resilient, and I mean, you really realize how good Ben Johnson is. When it was 17-9, we were worried. We weren't really moving the ball, and then all of a sudden,
this is true.
He came up with some incredible plays. Me being like the old school coach, when it's 4th and inches, I wish sometimes we would just run a quarterback sneak, but. Then you see the play design, and it's like Jameer Gibbs is wide open, or we went for it on 4th down the one time, and we didn't get it. But, they're just so good, and they just play hard for their coach. That's what I've learned, and they're just ready to take that next step.
And, what do they say about Braylon at Bishop Gallagher? What are the stories about him?
Well, he was an unbelievable football player. We were lucky to get him because he played at Detroit King, and it was unfortunate for Braylon because his senior year we had a lot of injuries. And Braylon was a quarterback, he was a wide receiver, he kicked, he punted. Sometimes he was playing 2 different positions at once. We only had 10 guys on the field. But but he was just a great football player, very dedicated, obviously very talented, and he played obviously for my father, who I thought was one of the greatest high school coaches ever.
And he was.
And he had 8
legend on the East Side.
Amen.
Sure.
9 kids. Braylon being one of them, who played at Michigan, and Braylon continued that tradition. And Braylon, I don't know if he told you this, but he was number 1 at the end, but he was number 80 at the beginning, and he had to earn that number 1, and he really did. I mean, that game against Michigan State that in 2004 was unbelievable.
I had George say,
heard about that.
When Lloyd wouldn't give me 1 at first, I had to go to Coach and say, hey, like, yo, Coach, like, I'm trying to get 1. Talk to your boy, because George, like, this is yo, I'm trying to get 1, but he was part of the process of, hey, look, just do what he says, do what you're supposed to. He said, go up there and earn it. So we did that. I just always wish I would have played at Gallagher longer. Like, look, I love Detroit King. Shout out to Detroit King. A lot of love for King, Sauce Gardner, New York Jets.
Shout out.
But I played meaningless football at King. Like I was pucksing my way through, trying to figure out.
Which is crazy because they're good now, right?
No, well, they were good then. Yeah. We were undefeated and went to cities my junior year and lost to Henry Ford, but. I played wide receiver. They didn't pass the ball. This is back old school public school football. They're going to run the ball and play defense. So I didn't get any passes. I wish I had played at Gallagher because the year before, man, Marcus and Darnell, what they did that year, Marcus Curry, shout out, another Michigan guy from Bishop Gallagher, 2 years with Torian and all those guys. So I wish I would have played some of those early Gallagher teams.
Hey, well, his freshman year, we went to the state. It would have been his freshman year, 1998.
98 was my first year, right?
Right. So we went to the state finals in 1998 and lost to Fulton Middleton. Now, if we would have had Braylon on that team, 100%. Maybe we would have had 2 great receivers. We had Marcus Curry. And we would have Braylon Edwards, but Braylon Edwards, came for 1 year.
I went 99.
Yeah, so he was just a tremendous. Probably, my dad was fortunate to coach a pro, right? I don't know how many pros he actually coached. I think Braylon was the only one. That's amazing. I mean, that just says it in itself. I mean, to play in the NFL, right, is
especially considering how
incredible.
small Gallagher was. Like Gallagher had 230 kids my senior year. 230 kids, how many kids Gallagher had? So that's the numbers aren't good to get an NFL guy.
Hey, our guy Tim Kaine, a good friend of Paul and I, said Paulie was a pretty good receiver himself. He was all state back in the day there, Paul.
Paul was nice. Paul was nice. I saw some highlights. Coach Eddie used to have the video room. The first room in the office on the right.
Right.
Yeah, I seen some highlights.
It was an incredible school. I mean, we were playing Notre Dame and De La Salle. We just honored. We played for the Propeller. De La Salle and Gallagher played for the Propeller.
Yeah. Well, my nephew is Coach Roan. Yeah.
Dan Roan. And anyways, we brought back the Propeller because we were holding on to it because the school closed and the alumni couldn't figure out what to do. And finally, we gave it back to De La Salle, which was a great event in September. So glad the propeller back, because the propeller's nothing without Gallagher. It's nothing without De La Salle.
Right.
So it's nice to see it back at De La Salle.
Good stuff. Bray, get us out of here. So good to meet you,
All right.
Coach.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Good job, Paul.
Thank you, Coach. Good to see you, man. Looking good too, man.
You look great. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm older, way older than you, but thank you.
You look good. You look good. We appreciate you guys for tuning in into the chat. We appreciate you, Ermanni, Edwards, and Matt. Shout out to Maria for another hell of a show. KG.
Yes, sir.
Kenny, thank you.
By the way, peace by back. Hope you feel better. Tom Masway,
Yes,
you put
sir.
together another hell of a show. And Ryan Ermanni, it's great to be with you on Wednesday.
My man.
We
My
love
man.
you guys. We'll see you, man. Yeah.
See you guys.
Thanks, fellas. That was great.
Great job.
Man, I learned a lot, man, listening to you guys.
It was fun, right?
Yeah, it was
a lot
great.
of fun,
I'm going to
man.
do that again.
Back tomorrow, babe.
Good show,
Thank
man.
you.
So,
Thank you.
So good to
So
see
I
you, man.
do